Hello everybody, this is GenJeFT here, or Jed, same thing, doesn't matter. I am recording this today as a bit of an angry rant. Now, some of you may know, some of you may not. I was a former military intelligence guy in the Army, an interrogator, an analyst. Primary interrogator, but we get cross-trained into analysis because we don't even always have an analyst to be there at all the time. So, there's a thing that I like to call, which isn't the actual term, there's a thing I like to call lying with the truth. Where you take the truth and you twist it in a way that is unsupported by the truth, but gets a particular message across in a way that seems to support your position. And the people I'm picking on today are ProPublica. And their story, Never Before Seen, Trump tax documents show major inconsistencies. And the first one we're going to address is this one right here. Lenders like to see rising occupancy level as a sign of what they call leasing momentum. Sure enough, the company total lender, that 40 Wall Street, had been 58.9, I'm going to round that up to 59%, leased on December 31st, 2012, and then rose to 95% a few years later. The company told tax officials the building was 81% rented as of January 5th, 2013. Boy, isn't this a fun wording for a math problem, pretty much. Yeah, timeline. So let's make their timeline. And the way they front load it. And we can slide this off the... I'm going to have issues because it's got this other crap I need for it. Okay, there we go. Slide that off the side with the ads. So, they say 2012. I'm not going to put December. It was 59% leased. Go a size higher. And a few years later, unspecified, it went up to 95% occupancy. They tell you this first. And then they say, Trump reported to the tax office that it was 81%. So this here is the apparent timeline as they put it in this paragraph. This is what it looks like. This, then that, then that. But if you read the dates, that is not, this here is not the timeline. This is garbage. Absolute trash. This is the actual timeline. 2012. Trump tells the lenders, we'll draw a line, it is 59% leased. 58.9, whatever, I'm rounding it up. And then, a few years later, don't specify how many years, but a few is 2, 3, or more. So we're going to say it was 2 years. In 2014, Trump tells the lenders it is 95% leased. But when did Trump tell the tax office what the lease rate was? Well, that was 2013. Where's 2013? 2013 is between 2012 and 2014. And in 2013, he told the tax office it was 81%. Oh, but 81% is greater than 59%. And then 95% in 2014 is greater than 81%. And between the years of 2012 it was 59%, in 2014 it was 95%. There must be a middling percentage number, shouldn't there be? Oh, look. There is. And it's a 13% occupancy rate that was reported to the tax office. And it's not like it's going to go from 59% occupancy to 95% occupancy. No, it's not going to go boom overnight. This takes time. This takes years. And what do we have here? We have a timeline of a gradually increasing occupancy rate with time. Okay, there we go. Terrible. But yeah, so we have a gradually increasing occupancy rate with time. This here is the actual timeline of events. This is not how it was presented in this story. Not how it was presented at all. They make it look like, or they attempt to make it look like, he told the insurance companies one thing in these 2 years. And then after he told the insurance companies one thing, he told the tax office something different. And because they mentioned this first, and they don't put the years later, but this is a few, and a few is 2 or more, it makes it look like he's telling them the tax office incorrect information, when in reality, between these 2 years when he's asking for money, there's a point where the building is going to be 81% occupied. And the point where it's 81% occupied lies in the middle, the 2012 and 2014. This is called twisting the truth to make a lie. And this kind of stuff drives me nuts, because most people are just going to skip over the few years later thing. I sit there, I was an interrogator, is paid to pay attention to these things, and hooray PTSD, 10 fucking years later I still can't help it. So, yeah, I noticed this. But that's not the only thing. And we'll be back after a jump cut. Alrighty, we're back. So, financial information for Trump International Hotel and Tower raises similar questions. Trump owns only a small portion of the building, which is located in, well, this is an ongoing, besides everything else, this is an ongoing theme throughout most of these things, where Trump actually really owns only a small portion of the building, or has a very small interest in the building, and like he's leasing his name out for branding. And they're passing it off as if the guy owns the entire building, so is fully responsible for anything, when he doesn't even have a controlling share in the building. But that's a different thing for another issue. But so Trump only owns a small portion of the building, which is located on Columbus Circle, 2 commercial spaces, which he rents out to a restaurant and a parking garage. Trump's company told New York City tax officials it made about $822,000 renting the space to commercial tenants in 2017. Here's a key thing. It made. Notice the wording. Record show. The company told loan officials it took in $1.67 million that year, more than twice as much. In the 8 years of data ProPublica examined for the Columbus Circle property, Trump's company reported gross income to tax authorities that was typically only about 81% of what was reported to the lender. I don't know about that. I can't verify that. Don't have the data. The only thing I have here are these 2 numbers. These 2 sentences carry all the meat. So, Trump told New York City tax officials the building made about $822,000. And then that told the loan office it took in $1.67 million. Now you're going to learn something today. The difference between gross income and gross profit, which are 2 different numbers. Gross income is the amount of money a company takes in before expenses, rents, and taxes, and so forth are deducted. Or, told loan officials it took in $1.67 million. that year. As I said, took in. Notice the language. Gross profit is what the company makes. What they earn in profit. What they make in profit after all expenses and so on are taken into account. Again, Trump's company told New York City tax officials it made. It took in and it made. This is gross profit after all expenses. This is gross income or net income, depending on what accounting term you want to use, or for whatever area that you're in. This is what they took in, net income. This is what they took in, made as gross profit. And I'm actually going to show you a financial and profit loss statement from my own company, one of my own companies. As you see, I took in, so far this year, $22,889.25. That is what I've taken in so far. What I have made is $4,131.34. What I took in and what I made in profit. They're counting on you not knowing the difference between gross income and gross profit. And that is what this difference is. This is gross profit. This is gross income. Is he doing anything wrong here? No. No. On its face, no. These are going to be two different numbers. In fact, actually, 50%, more than twice, that's a pretty good rate of profit here. Because I'm getting about 25% with this company. I'm getting kind of tired of running this one. But, yeah. They're counting on you not knowing the difference, so they can portray it as something like fraudulent and underboard. But no, there's nothing wrong with this. And what they're probably also not telling you is that there's probably net income on here, and then all the expenses and everything, but like the full extent of it may not actually be on what... They may not have access to the full extent of it. So yeah, again, they're taking what is probably true data. This is probably true, and this is probably true. And then portraying it in such a year, in such a way, banking on you guys, on the reader, not knowing the difference between net profit and net income. Or total income on this form. Because here's the net operating income, whatever. But they're hoping that you don't know the difference between these two numbers and what they represent, to make it appear that something fraudulent is going on when reality is probably nothing fraudulent going on. These are two examples that I've picked out of this story that were the easiest to explain. The story's full of them. And one thing that also helps you, one way that it really tells me the news story is, or the writer is trying to pull a fast one, is if they don't provide the source material. If someone provides me the source material via links or readable PDFs I can click on a link to and go read and study for myself and go over, it probably means that they're more or less telling the truth in the story. Because if they're providing the raw data, the data that you can use to debunk their story in the news article, then they probably know what they're writing about, and they've made their assertions based off the data and they're not representing in some way that is incorrect or turns the truth into a lie. These guys provide zero source data for you to look over and further understand what they're publishing or what they're trying to say. And then they're making these weird timeline tricks by saying this first, and then that, and then that, out of order, to appear that this happened, then this happened, then this happened, when it was really this, then that, then the 95, So the 59% came first, then it was 81% reported to the tax office, then after that it was 95% reported to the lender again. When you put it in the timeline, that isn't really, there's nothing wrong with that. That makes sense. But when you look at 59%, 95%, and 81%, we put it outside the timeline order, it makes it look weird, like something weird is going on. But they wanted to make it look like something was going on that wasn't going on, so they represent this out of order. And then down here, where it was before, they're banking on you not knowing the difference between what it made in profit and what it took in as net income. And then they're banking on you not knowing the difference between net profit and net income. That's what they're banking on with this. And this news article here from ProPublica is full of this. It's just full of it. And as I read the news today, Fox is full of it, CNN is full of it, MSNBC is full of it. Every single news outlet I go to today is generally presenting data in this way. If they're presenting any data. There's a lot of stuff that just, there's no underlying data, they're just saying shit to say shit. And it's all just garbage they've pulled out of their fucking ass. Really, about 40% of the news is just garbage someone pulled out of their fucking ass now. The rest of it, like another 40% is them doing this stuff, which is just being shady with the data, so they can present it in a way that doesn't make any bloody sense, or where they're trying to take advantage of the reader's potential ignorance on a particular matter and situation to portray something that is perfectly normal as being illegitimate. And that's what they're doing today. I'd say less than 20% of the news is actually truth now. This entire story is probably a lie. It is a lie that they wrote using the truth. And that is what the news is today. If you read a news story and they actually provide you the source documents, link to you to source documents and everything, you can probably trust that news story. Because if they're lying to you, or if they're presenting data to you in a way to draw a conclusion that the data doesn't support, they're not going to provide you with the base data, because they don't want you calling them out in the comments. I don't even believe, no, there's no comments in this. But they don't want you realizing it. So they'll do what these guys did, which is just make a bunch of assertions and provide no backup data, even though they claim to have all the source data. Or they'll misrepresent the source data that they have, or that they claim to have. And this is every news outlet now. Every single one. I could spend all my time going through various different news outlets, and people might actually would like me to do it. I'd probably die of a fucking aneurysm if I did it, but people probably like me to go through and just poke holes in all these news stories and go to the source documentation and go, hey, this is what the source says and this is what they said, and it just doesn't fucking match up. But I'd probably die of an aneurysm. And to be honest, this is one company I run. I've got more companies than that. Not a lot more, but the YouTube channel kind of is one. I could show you what I make from that, because that's a hilarious nothing. But, yeah. I've got better stuff to do than pick through the news every day and go, hey, they're lying to you again and again and again. Or, hey, they're misrepresenting the data to you again and again and again, to make you draw a conclusion that the data just doesn't support. So, I'm going to end my rambling video. I doubt many people will watch it, particularly to the end. If you did, hey, congratulations. You've learned something today. You've learned about messed up timelines. Actual timelines being corrupted and twisted to make an assertion that doesn't exist. You've learned about the difference between gross income, which is all the income that they've made, that a company's made before the expenses, and the gross profit, which is the profit that has been made. The gross profit is profit that has been made after all the expenses have been accounted for. If you didn't know that before, now you do. And now you know how the news companies twist that around and misrepresent it to make it look like something wrong is happening. Hope you've enjoyed. I don't know how many of these I'm going to be doing, but this was just something I found particularly egregious. I've got work to do. It is now 5:11 p.m. And I still have several hours worth of work left. See ya. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And write a comment. Yell at me if you want. I really don't care. If you like it, say you like it. Makes me happy. And I hope you learned something. See ya.